titled is The Four Ps Targeting and Reaching the Right Beneficiaries, an assessment of the veracity of the list of Pantawid Pamilya or Four Ps beneficiaries. This was authored by PIDS Senior Research Fellow, Dr. Jose Ramon Albert, PIDS President Dr. Aniceto Orbeta Jr., Supervising Research Specialist Ms. Chris Anmelad, and Research Analyst Mr. Muhammad Mahmoud. This provides the first comprehensive assessment of the four Ps targeting system, examining its accuracy and effectiveness in identifying poor households. To present the study's key findings, we have Dr. Jose Ramon Albert, a senior research fellow at the PIDS with extensive expertise in poverty measurement and statistical analysis. He also holds a PhD in statistics from the Stony Brook University and has held significant roles in national statistical agencies and academic institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Jose Ramon Albert as he begins his presentation.
Uh, Thank you, Alisa. Magandang umaga po sa kanilang lahat. On behalf of the entire PIDS research team, I'm pleased to present these findings publicly on our assessment of the veracity of the list of Pantawid Pamilya or 4Ps beneficiaries. And as mentioned earlier, ito po ay unang pagsusuri ng katotohanan ng listahanan ng mga benepisyaryo ng ating Pantawid Pamilya, no? This is the very first assessment done on the list of Pantawid beneficiaries since the Republic Act o yung pinatawag dating batas pambansa bilang 11310, no, noong 2019. Kami po ay minandato ng Kongreso na gawin po itong pag-aaral. So we were asked by the Congress to specifically to do this study. Next slide, please. So today's presentation is structured into four main sections. I will begin with an introduction that provides the context of our study and then outlines our study objectives. And then next, I will discuss the framework and methodology, and the core of the presentation will focus on our empirical findings, including the analysis of data consistency and even the targeting performance of the listahanan based on the data that was collected by our data partner, SWS. No? Finally, we will conclude the presentation with some actionable recommendations for enhancing both the information management and targeting systems. Next slide, please. So the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program, or 4Ps, has grown from merely 6,000 families. No? So una, nung 2007, 6,000 lang po ang pamilyang binigyan ng tulong, no? Noong 2007. At ngayon po ay tulad ng sabi ni Dr. Abeta, medyo lumaki na ito. Ngayon nasa 3.9 million as of today. Pero as of 2023, 4.4. So ibig sabihin million. So may natatanggal din po sa ating pantawid dahil siguro wala nang bata na masusuportahan, no, over the years, no. But anyways, this has become the perhaps the biggest the cornerstone of the Philippines social protection strategy. So yung expansion po na ginawa ng ating pamahalaan, minatch po yan ng actual budget allocation. So kaya ngayon halos kalahati po ng 1% ng ating GDP as of 2014, no? Yung naging budget niya, no, compared with even in 2010. Just makikita nyo lang, ang laki ng in-increase na budget kasi malaki nga yung sinusuportahang mga dami ng mga sinusuportahang pamilya. Next slide, please. So our study pursued really three interconnected objectives. So first, we wanted to conduct a rigorous verification of the quality and accuracy of the 4Ps beneficiary database. Yung tinatawag pong listahanan, gusto natin makuha yung accuracy po natin ng mga datos na kinolekta ng DSWD, examining both yung tinatawag na mga very static na demographic data, yung mga hindi masyadong nagbabago na impormasyon, at maski yung mga mabilis magbago o yung tinatawag na dynamic socio-economic data, no? So we also wanted to perform an in-depth assessment to some extent of the actual targeting system in reaching the intended beneficiaries, no? So gusto natin makita gaano ka-accurate ba yung effective yung kanilang targeting system, with particular attention to yung mga tinatawag na inclusion and exclusion errors, kasi may pagkakamali, parang doktor yan, no? Pag pumunta kayo sa doktor, hindi naman perpekto ang doktor sa paghahanap ng sakit, no? And third, we also wanted to formulate some recommendations for enhancing both the data management infrastructure and the targeting mechanisms, so that DSWD can effectively reach those most in need of assistance. Effective targeting, no, is really fundamental to any successful social protection program. Actually, for any program for that matter. And in the case of yung DSWD, hindi naman sila nagkolekta ng income data, no, kasi mahirap gawin katulad ng ginagawa ng PSA sa mga survey nila. Mahirap magkolekta ng income, no. So meron tinatawag na proxy means test na hinuhulaan yung mga income on the basis of yung mga tinatawag na poverty correlates, no? Pero nag-evolve yan dahil 3 beses ginawa ng DSWD. There have been 3 listahanans, 1, 2, and 3 yung pinaka-recent, yung pangatlo. And this evolution reflects the government's commitment to refining the targeting process through enhanced methodologies and data collection approaches. But the fundamental challenge remains balancing these inclusion errors, where non-poor households might be receiving benefits, with tinatawag na exclusion errors, o yung mga poor households ba ay hindi naman nabibigyan ng assistance, no? So kailangan may balancing ginagawa dito, dahil nga hindi naman perpekto yung targeting system. So but this will affect both the program's effectiveness and the public confidence in the actual system. So our research questions address 3 fundamental questions about the targeting system. First, how accurate is the current beneficiary information, particularly given the dynamic nature of household circumstances? Second, how effective is the targeting system in identifying and reaching genuinely poor households across different contexts? And third, what factors contribute to the targeting errors, and how can this be systematically addressed? So our methodology employed a quantitative approach. So gumawa po kami ng survey ng 3,000 households. So 3,000 households were surveyed across 4 major regions of the Philippines: Metro Manila, Balance, Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Ang aming data partner po ay SWS, para makita po natin, check natin yung data na nakuha namin as against yung data na nakuha ng DSWD. The primary data collection was complemented also by some analysis of the administrative records from the listahanan, no? So para makikita natin kung nagmamatch ba, no? We wanted to figure out the actual accuracy of what DSWD collected over the years. So our sampling design ensured equal representation of 4Ps beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries, so that we could also compare. Kasi ang listahanan po got quite a number of households, no, na interview. So kumuha po kami ng hindi lang po 4Ps, pati yung mga hindi na 4Ps beneficiaries, no? And then while we implemented the survey, of course, meron din kaming maging problema kasi hindi namin mahanap yung mga actual na beneficiaries, or yung mga dapat na tinatarget namin households. So meron kaming mga tinatawag na replacement rate, na nag-replace po kami ng households kung hindi namin makita yung mga una naming tinatarget, no? And the study's analytical framework address 2 interrelated components. One is the targeting effectiveness, and next is the information accuracy, no? For targeting assessment, we examined the balance between the inclusion and exclusion errors by also having our own proxy means tests dahil hindi naman po sa amin sinabi ng DSWD kung ano yung sistema nila, yung pinatawag na proxy means test para mahulaan nila kung sino yung mahirap o di mahirap. Gumawa kami ng sarili, no? Para makita namin kung medyo nagma-match baka according to our yung aming napansin, no? So, and then second is we wanted to also evaluate the information veracity. So, comparing things that are static, like addresses, dynamic data like employment status over the 15-year period, no? Kasi ang pinakaunang data set na kinolekta ng DSWD ay 2009. Pero all the way na hanggang nung halos bago ng pandemya, noong 2019, meron din silang kinolekt at vinalidate yun all the way in 2020 and 2021. So this extended timeline allowed us to capture even household transitions while also identifying systematic patterns in data consistency across the different types of data that were collected. So let me proceed to our study findings, main study findings. First, our assessment revealed a striking contrast between what was known as static and dynamic information accuracy. As regards static demographic data such as household addresses, very high consistency, about 99% accuracy. No? In contrast, there are things that could change across the years or even across the months, no? Like employment status. May mga nawawala ng trabaho, merong nag-shift from agriculture outside of agriculture, no? Etc. So we had we had about I think quite a big percentage, no, na nagma-match, and even education, no, yung education at attainments nila, no, but hindi kasing taas ng static data, no, and of course nagbabago depending on the area, depending on whether they are actual four-piece beneficiaries or not, no. Next slide, please. So when we examined specifically the basic data consistency by area, we were able to see that things like the household head age, no? Siyempre, of course, iba yung year ng nakinolekta nilang data on the age of the household head. Hindi po namin nakinolekta yung pangalan hindi namin nakita yung pangalan ng mga household head, pero yung age na reported doon sa database ng DSWD and we compared with what we got, we noticed that there was higher consistency in urban areas relative to rural areas. But in urban areas, there was also better consistency in infrastructure indicators such as water sources compared to rural areas. But this data consistency of whether it's in urban or rural shows that even for data collection in the future, no, of course, but maybe DSWD will now no longer collect because there's now CBMS, but this is something that maybe even PSA can learn from, no, that there will be certain strategies that will be needed to make sure that the data collected can not only be accurately corrected but also updated whenever possible. No? Next is we noticed that seemingly there are data inconsistencies, but we believe that the inconsistencies might actually be reflecting genuine transitions of households, no? Rather than errors. So the slide on screen shows just a case, no? Pinapakita po dito isang household na nakita doon sa listahanan 1, ito yung lumalabas, male siya, male in listahanan 1 and 3, and then in yung sa survey namin, male pa rin siya. So hopefully pareho yung household head, no? Kasi hindi namin alam whether the household head is really the same, no? But if you look at the age, o nung listahanan 1, 36, tapos 46, tapos naging 50. So mukha namang tama, no? And then the family size was changing, 6, then 5, and then 9. That might be also possible because sometimes certain members may get out of the household, they may move to other places, but originally they were in one region and then they move to another region according to listahanan 1 and 3. There are movements, but when we looked at, of course, our survey, it's still the household still in region 3, relative to listahanan 3, hardly any change. But then when we look at employment, no, just to see the employment of the household head in listahanan 1, the head was in agriculture, then in services, and then in our survey, unemployed. No, so this happens. It may be possible that the person may shift jobs or perhaps may lose a job. No, so but the thing that's sort of nice here is when you see the education attainment of the household head, again assuming it's the same household head. Then there seems to be consistency that the education attainment has been the same. No, of course, well, I would prefer that people are like who just attained primary education would somehow reach secondary education if possible, no, through continuing education. But anyway, that's my own view. Next slide, please. So the patterns here, no, suggest there's also dynamic nature of data, no, because there might be changes to opportunities of households, life circumstances that underscore the challenge of maintaining the current information even in a social registry, whether it's the listahanan or maybe the CBMS, for long-term use. Because even for me, I think there are things that change very fast, even cell phones, right? Cell phone numbers, sometimes people change uh, very fast. So we need to find a way of making sure that we are constantly updating information that is stored somewhere. Huh? Next slide, please. So the consistency challenges were particularly pronounced for employment and education status that is now shown in the slide. We have about 73% on average overall consistency, but there's variation across education levels. No? Even for well, here I'm showing more the unemployment, the employment, no, information, but even for other things like education. So we are seeing here that the sectoral employment of the household head showed an overall data consistency of about 67%. But of course, again, there is some change depending on there's still variation across sectors. Seemingly the services sector has higher consistency, no, than the consistency in agriculture, and maybe because there's movement out of agriculture, no. Okay, next slide, please. So our examination also looked into, well, I think more or less I did this. Can you go to the next slide? That there has also been progressive targeting. Nearly three-fourths, 70% of beneficiaries appear to be coming from the bottom 30% of income distribution as of 2024, 2023, no? And then 9 out of 10 beneficiaries seem to be among the bottom 50%. So kahit na sinasabi, uy, hindi naman sila mahirap, pero mukha namang hindi sila mayaman, no? So in a way, again, let me point out that there has been always this criticism against the 4Ps database, that they may not all be really poor, quote unquote, but our point here is 90% are in the bottom 50%. So that means they're still low income, and hardly do you find any households, at least as we saw it, hardly do you find any households who are actually the beneficiaries who are actually rich, no? So this means that program's targeting effectiveness has been evidenced by very minimal presence of the 4Ps in very high income groups, no? And so that is something that that shows you that the DSWD did a fairly good job, no, in doing their work. So marami po sa ating mga 4Ps program beneficiaries are really concentrated in the low income households as intended, no? All right. Next slide, please. So because we did not have the actual proxy means test formula done by DSWD, we did our own PMTs, proxy means test, showing that there was, of course, a difference in the inclusion and exclusion errors, more or less matching what DSWD reported before. for the Listahanan 1 and even for the PMT2 that we had, which was more or less matching the most recent PMT of the SWD. Again, we seem to be more or less saying the same story, no? That, and even because when we were looking at the two PMTs, because I tried to understand how the SWD came up with their PMTs, so to be able to try to mimic, because they did not give us the formula, their formula, so we could not verify directly, but we developed our own, and but we seem to have managed to replicate more or less what they generated. No? Next slide, please. We found, of course, also that there might have been some disparities in targeting effectiveness. Apparently, rural areas have better targeting accuracy, maybe 70% in the bottom three deciles. No, so if we think of really the very poor as the bottom 30%, so in urban air in the rural areas, there we have as much as 70% accuracy. No, much better than the urban areas of about 40% only, no? So that suggests that it's much more difficult to actually determine the poor in urban areas, no? So this is going to be another challenge, not just for the SWD now, but even for PSA in the CBMS together with DepDev, no? When they start trying to identify from the data collected in CBMS, which will be the future targeting system, no? Together with the SWD when they start working on all of these things. All right, so next slide, please. Our study revealed, so in a way, our key takeaways would be, first, that we observed there's a stark contrast between static and dynamic information accuracy. 90 to 90% for static data, and between 71 to 76% on average for dynamic data, which is quite good, no? And then second, despite the challenges of getting all of this data, we have there might be a need for progressive targeting, especially to try to find the poor in the future, no? But there will be significant also urban-rural disparities in targeting accuracy. Next slide, please. So we are recommending a lot of protocols for harmonizing the current CBM, the data that's now being collected by PSA in the so-called CBMS. And of course, we understand that the DSWD is also now testing out an updating through what's known as e-registro, no? Through actual digital updates, no? Allowing in the future even maybe linking CBMS and listahanan data so that you can maximize the data that has been collected so far over the years. And next slide, please. We propose also designing specific. We hope that they will be designing specific urban models that can better capture or better target the poor if we're really focusing purely on the poor, no, to be assisted in the future. Next slide, please. We hope that we understand the SWD is working on a graduation framework, especially given that by next year, under the 4-piece law, there will already be around 1.9 million households who will be kicked off the program. No? So we suggest, so because there will be this graduation framework, so we understand that now the SWD is working on it. So there will be a need for some evidence-based approach to integrate whatever we have gotten insights on the listahanan and CBMS data collection towards improving welfare assessment, maybe even possibly recertification of poor households every so often, no? And make some kind of post-graduation support when people are kicked out of the program. We need to be able to make sure that they will not just slide back into poverty. So we need really a way of improving their capacity for resilience. Finally, next slide, please. As the SWD goes through all of this, there will be short-term, medium-term, and of course, long-term things that they need to work on, making sure that all of this data that's being collected, not just by the SWD, but also by PSA, working side by side as these two institutions work side by side in the future together with DepDev, we will have a very good system, no? And that can be easily updated, especially now that we have a lot of digital tools, no? Even the poor are using cell phones, no? And the other thing, perhaps next slide, please, that I should say that I'm very glad that the SWD in particular has already started developing a data governance framework, as shown in this circular diagram, operating through three interconnected components, having performance standards, oversight mechanisms, and accountability systems for making sure that whatever data that's actually available within the SWD has integrity, and somehow we facilitate also smooth system integration. But as this is being implemented, there will also be a need for capacity building to ensure that the SWD knows how to do data quality processes. So there will be need for regular training of staff, developing systems, user-friendly manuals and things like that, refresher courses inside the SWD, because they're not statisticians, no, but yet they need to be able to understand a lot of analytics, to see how this data can be transformed into insights. So moving forward, next slide, please. The SWD needs to really secure enough funding, but I'm a bit worried they got 40% the budget cut this year, no? Even if they had a CCT law, it did not guarantee the budget support. But maybe it's important to work, for the SWD to really work with DepDev and PSA to really pilot whatever new targeting models that will be developed in the future for urban areas and rural areas, and develop timelines for regular performance monitoring. And then finally, as I end this presentation, we can note that the 4Ps targeting system has made significant progress over the years, as validated from our study. But of course, there continue to be challenges. As always, data is not something that's really static, no? Especially when we know that in our lifetime things change, we improve, no? So the only thing is, how can we capture whatever information that needs to be updated. The findings, however, from the study give a lot of insights for policy refinements and operational improvements in the data systems. So that in the DSWD and other government agencies can ensure that the 4Ps can better serve the poorest households in the country. And of course, I already said many recommendations earlier. Thank you very much.